The year is 2020 at the time of this recording. Now, I want you to picture 40 years from now. That will make it 2060. Yeah, it's an interesting and scary thought because we don't know what we will be doing. We don't really want to think about how old we'll be in 40 years. And the scary thought is like, are we still going to be around? Will some people I know still be around? That's reality. Now, for the last 40 years, the people of Israel have been wandering the wilderness, and now a whole generation has passed. As you recall back in Numbers, we had a generation rebel against God. They lost faith in God, and they believed that they could not take the promised land. Despite the encouraging words of Joshua and Caleb, the other 10 spies were able to rally the people against God's will. That caused the people of Israel to wander the next 40 years, and none of them would be able to see the promised land, only their children. Now we have come to that point. And in the book of Deuteronomy, it's basically a review. Moses is telling the new generation of Israelites, the ones who were children at the time of the first attempt of crossing into the land. He's telling them everything that happened that brought them up to this point. He told them about the 10 Commandments. He told them about the law and all those. He's basically preparing the people in order to cross over and take the land. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. These commandments I give to you today. Impress them upon your children. Write them on your hearts. Speak of them when you sit down and when you walk along the road. Meditate on them as you lie down and as you get up. Those words became known as the Shema. The Shema, or Shema in Hebrew, means hear or listen. And it became the most important prayer of Hebrew and Jewish culture. It was prayed in the morning at sunrise and at night at sunset. And it focuses on two things: listening and loving. And basically here it's talking about that in order to listen to God, you must first love God. And it's only from love that we genuinely listen to someone. It's obedience that derives from devotion. God is not some oppressive ruler looking to dictate every aspect of his people's lives. No, but it's out of genuine love for God that we listen and obey to his commandments, because we know it is his commandments that keep us safe, and it's for our own good. All throughout the book of Deuteronomy, you'll hear two competing concepts: blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience. Moses goes through the law in detail, and it talks about almost every aspect of their lives. Everything from what to eat, what to drink, how to dress, how to interact with different people, the priests, and the holy days. And if you were to adhere to these instructions, then you would receive blessings. However, if you choose to rebel and disobey, well, there are some consequences for those actions. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to It's Your Choice. For you, our contestant today, we have two options. We have listen and obey, and ignore and rebel. And behind each door lays huge consequences for your life based on what you choose. Now, the game is very simple. You, the contestant, choose listen and obey or ignore and rebel. It's up to you. And, well, would you like to know what is behind each door? Well, Bob, let's tell him what's behind listen and obey. For listen and obey, they will be a blessed country. Their women will have so many babies. They will have plentiful crops and livestock. They will be a blessing coming and going. They will defeat their enemies and be feared by many nations and be established as God's holy people. Well, thank you, Bob. Now, that's one choice, but let's find out what is behind ignore and rebel. Bob? For disobedience, sorry, no babies, your crops will be destroyed, your livestock will be infertile, you will run out of bread and grain, you will be defeated by your enemies, and you will be ridiculed by other nations. You will borrow from others rather than be lenders, and you will be afflicted by many diseases. Thank you. All right, now the time has come for you, the contestant, to choose. Listen and obey, or ignore and rebel. The choice is yours. Moses would also prophesy that in the future, the people of Israel, though they have taken the land and would be there for generations, because their heart would be hardened and they would turn away from God, they would be kicked out of the land into exile. And for a period of time, the land will lay desolate. However, they gave them a hope that in the further future, they would come back to the land, and there would be a hope that they would no longer have a heart of animosity and rebellion toward God, but devotion, love, and allegiance to him. Moses would never see the promised land himself. He would go up on a mountain, Mount Nebo, where he can see the land from afar. Joshua, one of the two spies that had faith in God that they could take the land, was appointed to be Moses' successor. And he would be the one who would lead the people into the land. And this concludes a section of the Bible known as the Torah, the law or the instructions, as it can be called. And it is here where it sets the entire basis of the Bible. It's a story of people who are outside of the land, not quite toward the promise, but a hope that the promise is coming. And all throughout the rest of the scripture is all pointing toward a coming hope, a hope of a Messiah, of Jesus, who would be that one that would create in us a heart not of animosity or rebellion toward God, but of love and devotion to him.